Welcome back to our third section, Transforming Manufacturing Through Digitalization and Circularity. To begin the session, it is with great pleasure to have Ms. Marjorie Yang, Chairman of the SCAL Group, as our keynote speaker. Ms. Yang, please.
The 2 o'clock slot is a difficult one. So we've decided that our main goal is to keep you awake. A little bit about SCAL Group. We've been around 43 years. It was founded by my father. Now, we started off as a shirt maker, and now we've become a total solution provider for the textile and apparel industry, a curator in industrial knowledge and technology, as well as a builder of direct-to-consumer relationships. We started off wanting to just make shirts. And then we decided that what we really wanted to do is to make a difference. Life is too short otherwise. We want to tackle climate change and close the wealth gap. With climate actions, we've recently announced our pledge to reach net zero by 2050. And we announced it at our recent annual sustainability conference, the Integral Conversation. Here are the action areas to hit our ambitious goal of net zero by 2050. Those are textbook. That's from a diagram that you can get out of textbooks. But here is something that we've been actually doing. So we've been tracking our consumption for years. And this is why we have confidence that we can reach net zero by 2050. You can see we've been able to reduce water consumption per unit of output by 64%, energy consumption by 43%. And with energy, we've started to move towards alternative energy. And we're looking for more breakthrough to further reduce the consumption of energy and water. Today, I would like to focus a little bit on our water treatment. This is our own water treatment plant. It is in Phat San, which is about 3 hours from here, which is one of our major bases. This was built in 2000. It is one of the largest wastewater treatment plants in China's textile industry. We apply ozone bioaerated filter to its advanced treatment process. We treat 30,000 tons of water daily. Our discharge quality easily surpasses regulatory requirements. Now, 5,000 tons are further treated so that 3,000 tons of the 5,000 tons are reused in production. I'm going to keep on referring back to recycling in the production process, which is something I think that is not mentioned often enough. This infrastructure, we have put in over 30 million US over the years to reach this capacity as well as maintain the capacity to be at the state of the art. So 5,000, as I mentioned, 5,000 tons of the water goes through deep treatment, and 3,000 tons is reused. What you're going to say, what if you retreat 5,000 tons, how come you only use 3,000 tons? Well, 2,000 tons of the water is used to carry out the brim that is generated during the deep treatment process. So I've actually drank the water that you can see that can be consumed. we also have real-time data available to the general public to monitor, or government, or our own people. Another topic is recycling in products. So I just mentioned we do a lot of recycling in the production process, which is a great opportunity. But there are opportunities also in final products. So it is very difficult. Everybody talks about recycled products, but in fact, it's quite challenging. Now, we are in a unique position to do something like this. Loopy is about 30% reused cotton. It's cotton that is otherwise lost or not used because the fiber length is too short. So you take whatever material is not used and combine it with, we combine it with virgin cotton. Now, you have a problem because your raw material is of two different quality. Some of it is very weak. So you need to have the technical expertise to be able to combine the two in order to come up with a final product that meets consumer quality demands. So this, you need spinners, you need weavers, you need garment makers, all aligned so that you can tackle these recycled products. We're trying to come up with different ways of having responsible production. You see natural dye. Natural dye is the traditional dyeing method using plants, etc. But because chemical dye stuff is so efficient, natural dye was phased out, except in craft. We believe that we can use today's technology combining with the traditional ways of dyeing and coming up with processes that meet the efficiency, quality demands of today's consumer, as well as achieving a lighter footprint. Yak, interesting material. Now, why is yak down better than cashmere? Because a yak is not a goat. When goats feed, they pull out the grass. Cows graze, and therefore for biodiversity, we actually promote yak. Lots of stories to share, lots of opportunities. Packaging. Packaging is a big problem, but without packaging, products do not reach consumer in the quality that it has to reach consumers' demand. But there are a lot of opportunities here. I'm not going to go through because I can spend an hour on this subject alone. Plastic is included in here. Digital technology. When you have data, when you can use data to predict, it will give you an opportunity to reduce the overall cycle time. One of the biggest advantages is reduction of stock or mistakes in ordering. That itself, again, I don't think we mention that often enough, but the accuracy of the ability to predict, therefore taking out waste, is tremendous. So this lead time reduction can contribute a lot. We also recently just have built a factory that is, one of the problems is machines do not talk to each other. Different vendors have data, but they never think about how the data is going to be integrated. So if you're running a factory, your biggest challenge is how do you get all this data integrated? A lot of data in manufacturing, a lot of data is available, but data itself is of no use. Until you can integrate the data and make use of it, it is in fact just an expense item. We are very committed to, oh, by the way, that intelligent factory was awarded recently the 2021 Digital Intelligent Factory in Fatsan, which is recognized by the Bureau of Industry and Information Technology. And we are very honored to receive that. And we will continue in this direction, which is mandated by the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. And so that's an area that we will continue to pursue. But the ultimate goal is to try to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 goals from a comprehensive set of objectives for everyone. We have selected 9 goals as our priorities, as they are aligned with our vision of making a difference through tackling climate change and narrowing this wealth gap. Secondly, we also assess our ability to actually make a difference by each goal's relevance to our existing business operations. So we use this in a way like a balanced scorecard. Again, this is 2 p.m. session, so I am going to try to entertain you a little bit by sharing a video. And those of you who really need to take a nap, this is the time, because afterwards, the panel discussion is going to be so exciting, you don't want to take your nap then. May I have the video?
The global temperature has been rising at an unprecedented rate, threatening all lives on Earth. The massive consumption of fossil fuels in traditional industries has led to large amounts of greenhouse gas emissions, intensifying global warming. In the face of severe challenges, more and more countries have joined the call by the United Nations to commit to reducing carbon emissions. This has also charted a course on global industry transformation and sustainable development. With the vision of making a difference, Escal established Integral, our sustainable development garden. In designing, building, and operating Integral, we put special consideration in avoiding excessive greenhouse gas emission via low-emission construction, green architectural design, energy efficiency in operation, and promotion of a low-emission lifestyle. We are striving to keep emissions to a minimum and play our part in taking climate action. Through Integral, Escal aspires to build a better future by fostering harmonious development among aspects of the economy, environment, and society. After the initial site inspection during the project's planning phase, the group decided to set the main construction site and lake in low-lying terrain where the landscape is primarily flat. The surrounding rocks were kept at their original places so as to reduce the transportation of materials and landscaping. Unused bamboo, bricks, and tiles were repurposed to build fences, minimizing carbon emissions during construction. Every building at Integral contains elements of green architectural design. Green construction materials like mineral wool and aerated concrete were used extensively to enhance performance of fireproofing, moisture retention, and heat preservation. The facade of the specialty spinning mill is made with a bamboo-based composite with a high solar reflectance index, lowering the rise in temperature caused by sunlight. It also improves ventilation by reducing the heat island effect. Flying eaves, crystal tiles, and natural light tubes maximize the use of natural light and reduce reliance on lighting facilities. Low-E glass has been widely utilized at Integral for better insulation. The glass walls help to regulate indoor temperatures, hence reducing reliance on air conditioning. When it comes to our operations, we place high importance on enhancing our energy efficiency. The power station is the center of Integral's energy management, consolidating and monitoring real-time data. Our introduction of an advanced and fully automated spinning production line reduces energy consumption. The specialty spinning mill comes with an inbuilt heat recycling system that recovers heat generated from the production process, which is then used for indoor heating through the air conditioning chamber. Based on the characteristics of the garment production lines, we installed 12 high-volume, low-speed fans for better air circulation. To boost energy efficiency, lean concepts are applied to our front lines to achieve responsible production, developing a seamless workflow that cuts down on waste and energy. Our introduction of eco-wash technology reduces the amount of water and chemicals used in the washing process by an enormous amount, making zero operational wastewater discharge possible for the entire site. Our people at Integral are constantly reminded to keep a low-emission mindset at work as well as in everyday life. The employee-run Green Committee was established to boost environmental awareness among Escalers through interactive activities. On top of our smart energy management system, we also count on our employees to build green habits with their use of lighting and air conditioning. Our colleagues are encouraged to reduce waste by sharing office supplies and using meal pre-ordering apps. On the road, our coaches, transit buses, and utility vehicles have gone electric, replacing traditional vehicles and minimizing the use of fossil fuels. We set up charging facilities for electric vehicles for our employees' commute. Our internally developed carpool app encourages our staff to share their transportation with colleagues, further lowering emissions. For many years, Escal has deployed solar panel systems at sites where sunlight is sufficient. Wide application of solar power in Guilin has always been challenging due to limited sunlight availability. Following advancements in solar panel technology, we are now able to start adopting solar power at Integral, adding to our comprehensive use of clean energy. We are currently building the first natural dye botanic garden in China, which will serve as a research center for natural dye plants. This will help develop key natural dyeing technologies and protect biodiversity. Looking to the future, Escal will continue to strive towards its vision of making a difference, staying true to our sustainability commitment. We will take the lead in transforming our industry and optimizing our operations to meet high-quality, low-emission standards through innovation and technological breakthroughs. Shifting away from fossil fuels, we look to adopt clean energy and enter the era of smart manufacturing and promote low-emission production models and lifestyles.
Thank you very much. We want to prove that man and nature can coexist. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Yang. Please remain on stage and be seated for the panel discussion. As a reminder, online participants are welcome to use the Q&A box if you have any questions for our speakers. For our audiences in the room, please raise your hand and we will pass you the mic. Now, please welcome our moderator, Engineer Professor Daniel Zhang, Managing Director of Dunwell Technology Holdings Limited. Engineer Professor Zhang, please.
Well, I got the mic and Maggie is sitting here, so I better invite my other panelists to join us. There's Dr. Daniel Yip, okay, and also Dr. Matthew Mann in person joining us, and also online with Mr. Elver from Siemens. Is he online here? Okay, just want to say hello.
Hello.
Hello, Aldo.
Hi, good afternoon.
Okay, great. Okay.
I am online, right? You guys can hear me?
Yes, we see you okay. Now,
Perfect.
okay, before we start, I better get an opportunity to let our speakers introduce themselves. Of course, Maggie already heard her introduction, wonderful introduction and also a presentation. So maybe I will pass the mic to Dr. Daniel Yip. I'll call him Daniel.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. I'm the past chairman of a Federation of Hong Kong Industries. Today, the topic, talking about the circular economic, and what we are proposing to the government is the up and coming 4 major industries in Hong Kong, will be happening in Hong Kong, including food, microelectronics, environmental, and the biotechnology. In fact, one of the most important the industry that will be up and coming in Hong Kong is the environmental engineering and circular economy. So today, I hope I can share with the time with the other panel speakers, about our foresights about that industry in Hong Kong. Thank you.
Okay. I'll let Dr. Mann also introduce himself. I'll call him Matthew, also a good friend of mine.
Thank you, Daniel. We are the high-tech company providing the IoT solutions for many industries, particularly in healthcare, logistics, and jewelry retail business. All the innovations were developed in Hong Kong, homegrown high-tech company. We provide a lot of IoT solutions that enable a particular industry to go through a digital transformation. And so hopefully I'm able to share some of our experience with you guys.
Okay. Also online there's Aldo. Maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit and the company.
Yes, thank you very much. Once again, I'm Aldo, President and CEO of Siemens Limited, Hong Kong, and at the same time also Taiwan. And due to pandemic, I'm not able to travel. Sorry for this, but happy to join you virtually. Siemens, I hope you know and have heard, is the leading technology company helping our customers in different industries to manage the challenges coming through different megatrends. And we have nicely heard the speech previously, and also talking about climate change and also the need to reduce CO2 emissions through different means. And exactly in this area, we are assisting our customers in the industrial sector, for example, in manufacturing areas, in different verticals, but also in city infrastructure, be it transportation, be it energy management, be it building management. Again, assisting our customers to run their operations in a more efficient way through digital technologies. And I'm happy to share with you later on in the panel. Once again, thank you for giving me the chance to join this great panel.
Well, thank you for joining us all the way in Taiwan. And well, thanks to the technology nowadays, we can all meet together online. And in the last 2 years, we all learned to live with this new lifestyle, new normal. As you can just hear from all the introduction from our panelists, you realize that we have a really dynamic group here because the topic is about digital transformation and manufacturing and circularity. Now, what that really means is, in the manufacturing sector, how do we utilize information and how do we recycle, reuse, and save resources? Now, in the manufacturing sector, as you can hear from Maggie's video and presentation earlier, that's what really entrepreneurs and manufacturers have been trying very hard to do in order to do business, to make money, and to satisfy the needs of the clients. And so next to me, Daniel here, he wears many hats, one of which is immediate past chairman for Federation of Hong Kong Industries. By the way, I'm the 3 past chairman, so we know each other very well, serving the industry for some time. But also, Daniel is also very active in the environmental front. Recently, you are the chairman for the Recycling Fund for EPD. Maybe later on you can share a little bit on that. And Dr. Mann over there, he's really using a lot of IoT to put into actual practice to support from jewelry industries to pharmaceutical and hospital, pharmaceutical, how to pick all these medicines and to serve the community. And of course, Aldo and the Siemens here, they do so many things. You cannot miss their name all over the world. And anything related to anything can move, somehow got the names on it. And later on, I'm sure you can maybe more specifically sharing how you can utilizing your knowledge or companies' strength to meet our topics here. Now, Maggie, as you just heard, she's actually I remember meeting Maggie back when we were the Go West trip in 2001 in Xinjiang. That was a while back, 2001, and we visited one of your factories with the whole group. So she has been really working on making the difference, doing something that others haven't done. So the idea about this topic is how do we creatively integrate all this information and skills and turn it into something very good. Okay, I better stop here and let our panelists to share. Maybe I'll let Daniel start first. So maybe you can share a little bit about the circularity in your experience and how all this circularity can work for the industry.
Thank you. First of all, the latest policy address from CE, so she have make a very clear policy direction, that Hong Kong, we have to meet certain target, separately on the 2035 and 2050, I think one of the most urgent role, of the government is how to reduce all the rubbish. And as you may be all aware, the Legislative Council just passed the law, so they are allowed to charge the rubbish. And the government will be very keen to differentiate the rubbish and try to recirculate, And I think being the chairman of a Recycling Fund Advisory Committee, our new mandate is to reindustrialize the recycling industry. So what does it mean is over the past years, the recycling industry is only collecting the rubbish and try to re-export the rubbish to other countries. But all you may well know, because of the pandemic, because of the transportation costs, because of the regulation of many countries, the export of rubbish is becoming more and more difficult, So what does it mean is all the rubbish actually, is all being dumped in Hong Kong right now, And this is a huge problem, I think for the Hong Kong government, so they want to reduce the land dump, and encourage the industry, to invest in Hong Kong and then try to recirculate, the rubbish into something sourceable, like another resource, So I think Hong Kong has a huge opportunities because at this moment, our circular economy for recycling into something renewable resource is really minimal. So we are really starting from scratch. So, but of course, there might be a lot of policy to follow, land policy, education, many other policy. But I'm sure the government will do a lot of policy update, to meet the target, So I think there's a lot of coming, to Hong Kong.
Okay, thank you. Well, I will ask Maggie to share at this point because, I know you just gave us a good presentation, but I noticed that you mentioned you won an award for a smart, intelligent factory. Maybe perhaps you can share with us a little bit more. How do you transform that digital information? How do you bring the information together? So you call this intelligent factory.
First of all, we start with changing the management philosophy. So we adopt lean, and we try to improve the process rather than just collecting a lot of data. Again, I think that when we talk about smart factories or smart intelligent anything, the danger is that you end up just putting in lots of sensors and collecting a lot of data. But then that is a cost. it's not value creation. So it took us a long time to really, in order to achieve lean, you have to get people, build trust within the workforce. And by the way, another challenge is to convince workers, particularly like in our industry, there are a lot of workers who are not digitally, they're not familiar with digitalization. So we need to bring them, make them feel that they can join the digital revolution. So we have our HR folks used a method that is developed at MIT to teach children to code. It's called App Inventor. Hong Kong calls it Cool Think. And we try to get the workers to learn to code. Now, once they can get over that, they feel that they can be part of the digital revolution. And that is critical. I think any intelligent factory has to be manned with people, men or women, who feel that they are part of that revolution. So we took a long time to do that. And then after we adopted Lean, built the workforce, and of course, there are plenty of young people who are well-educated, who can use the information to improve the process. But I'd like to highlight that it's the first two steps, and its sensors are not expensive. Now, even what I mentioned earlier about the different machine generate very different signals, still, those can be dealt with. But the key is, can you get the people to buy in? Then you really have an intelligent, a smart factory with smart people who feel that they're going to be creating value rather than you're just trying to get rid of the people. So.
Thank you. I think you point out very important point is people, or everything starts with people. Okay, I think, Matthew, you have some experience working with manufacturers as well as our government and our hospital authority. I'm sure you have some comments to share on what Mackie's point about, getting the people to buy in, to understand and be capable to understand what the technology or digitization can do for them.
I just want to follow up what Daniel just said earlier about rubbish. I think that's something we apply that into healthcare. Personally, I defined the healthcare 4.0 in Hong Kong, and then I actually moved lower level down to pharmacy 4.0. And I just realized that, for the past few months, that actually we have a lot of rubbish related to drugs. Now, going back to digitalization, we are now helping some of the hospitals using digitalization to monitor the drug's expiry date, drug conditions. Now, expiry date and condition, right, is determined how much drugs are going to be wasted. There's no statistics so far and telling us, right, I think HA is buying billions of dollars drugs every year. And I just have rough estimates, 10% of that, right, at least going to be wasted, right, due to a manual operation, human eye to check expiry dates, drugs that had to be kept in storage, not be in good conditions, and all that is still manually monitored. So therefore, digitalization, able to monitor at batch level, individual level, the storage, and then they allow them to first in, first out, first expires, first out, all the behavior, and guide them through. We have the pick-to-light system. When they scan a pickiness or prescription, actually the light will lit up and guide them where to pick, right? If they pick the wrong one, we will alert them. So by doing that, at least the front end, all right, the drugs are not being wasted. On the other end of the scope is that a lot of people, there are a lot of unused drugs, all right, at the ward level, at home, at OH people, and when they change the condition, the drugs also been changed. What happened to those drugs? Now I see a lot of bins outside. We are collecting bottles, paper, and other things, but not even a box collecting unused drugs. And where did they go? Landfill, right? And now, a few months ago, I read the newspaper about they actually detected there's a lot of substance, okay, in the water, in the landfill, containing like, I can't remember the name of that, a lot of different chemicals and came from drugs. And a lot of drugs are actually dangerous drugs, okay? Some of them used it and used the syringe and all that, and they're not being kept or disposed properly. So all that, I think, is a cycle, a complete cycle. And I think government and also actually they're not addressing those issues. And I'm hopefully able to join the organization and create an initiative how to handle drugs and save drugs.
Thank you, Matthew. Well, you certainly bring out a very new subject that have been overlooked for some time, because we all, you ask us, what do you do with your pills, after if you get you go to the doctor that gives you, let's say, a week of medicine, and you may not finish all of them, and you might change another doctor, give you another bag of pills. And what do you do with all those excess pills, Well, I think in the past, all of us, will be just throwing in the garbage and then goes to the landfill. Now, he brought out a very interesting point, because the landfill has to deal with all this leachate water. That means all the water that comes out from the rain into the landfill, and then eventually get into wastewater and needs to be treated. Now, this is very complicated water to treat when you're mixing with pharmaceutical drugs. If that hormones, things like that, I think that's a lot of contamination already been discovered or recognized in drinking water, that we're getting a lot of different medicines or waste medicines and hormones mixing together. So that's something that we certainly want to look into more. Well, Aldo, you're on the other side of the seas, okay? Maybe I would better let you share with us. In Siemens, I'm sure you've done all this digitizations. You have some particular interesting project you can illustrate to us how we can bring digitization, manufacturing, and also circularity all together.
Thank you. Yes, well, indeed. In fact, as it has been mentioned, we are talking about digital transformation. And many industries and within industries, many verticals are going through this transformation. We as a company did it already in the recent years. And today we are in fact talking about Siemens. If we talk about Siemens, we are more or less a software company. Of course, we are providing software in the industrial sector. And as Maggie has nicely explained and introduced, it was really beautiful also speech and presentation. We have to start with people first. That is, I think, important. And this is for us also one of the important criteria. And we always say it starts from top. If the management doesn't believe on this transformation, then it's not so easy to implement. And we all believe, and this is in fact, how to say, there is no alternative to this transformation in our eyes. Because it's a change affecting many industries. And if we want to survive, we want to be better, we have to go through this transformation, this digital transformation. Now, how we do it? We are providing technologies to our customers where they can utilize, for example, to design their products digitally. In the past, we were talking about prototyping and trial and error, and this can be reduced and optimized, which can help us to save time and cost and reduce CO2 emissions. So we can help our customers to design their products digitally and even test it virtually through simulation tools. And the same applies also to the production sites. So you can design your production for a specific product digitally. And utilizing the different software tools, you can also test the operations virtually. So that means all what you intend to do in your manufacturing can be done digitally. This means also we have to rethink all the processes we had before, and that is why we are talking about digital transformation, not only digitalization. In fact, digitalization is happening also all the time with automation techniques and using computers and you name it. But digital transformation is affecting not only the people, but also the processes and where we are helping and assisting our customers to go through this transformation. We are, for example, providing also tools to build so-called digital twins. In fact, those are models of the products and the production sites. And you can have a product digital twin, you can have a production digital twin. And if you have done the production and the product is on use or in operation, and hopefully it is equipped with the proper sensors to how to say, deliver the relevant data which you can utilize to test the performance of the product. We're also talking about performance twin. So product twin, production twin, performance twin. And with the performance twin, you can, for example, analyze the performance and go back and optimize your product, again, digitally, or optimize your production, again, digitally, using the software tools we are providing to our customers. We're also talking in this context of our digital enterprise suite, which is containing all those things which I have just tried to describe. Once again, this is an important step which we need to understand, moving from the traditional manufacturing into the new way of manufacturing. We also use the term in Germany, Industry 4.0. You might know it or have heard about it. In different countries, different industries are using different terms. In Taiwan, we are talking about smart manufacturing. So this is, in fact, more or less the same. Again, utilizing digital technologies to design products production, but also optimize the products, and also more importantly, utilizing the technologies, be it AI, we call also industrial AI, be it 5G, where we need to connect the different machines and systems in a faster and more efficient way, and again, providing a better way of product design, production. And with this, again, back to the topic which Maggie has nicely introduced, we have to optimize our energy consumption, resource consumption, water consumption, and optimize, again, the production. With this, of course, reduce the CO2 emissions. I don't want to talk more. I'm happy also to give more concrete examples maybe in a later stage of the talk.
Thank you, Aldo. Well, both Daniel and myself, a few years ago, we took a delegation to Germany to visit Industry 4.0. And we were very amazed as well as impressed by many of the top German manufacturers integrating this digitization information. We were in one of the Porsche manufacturer where we actually witnessed one production line with, they can make 3 different models of cars, and each one of them are different from the one that's coming out of the line. And you know, we were just curious as to, do you have a supercomputer, or you have, so what kind of system do you have in order to make that work out on that precise moment? Because when you order a Porsche online, they actually tell you which day, which time your car will be coming out of the production line. Like you can be the father to receive the child of the production line. This is exactly the moment then you can see the car. So, and when we discuss more, it is really a system, a total system of integration with suppliers, manufacturers of different parts, and even all the internal workers, exactly because the production line is moving down the line. So when it comes to the station where they put the 4 wheels together, that 4 wheels has to be there on that precise moment in order to put in the car. Because the next car behind it is a different car, different wheels, different designs, different color. So it was quite amazing. But at the same time, we also visited some of the smaller manufacturers. They said, well, we're not yet 4.0, we may be 2.5. And they're still learning together. So that few years to recently, I think the Hong Kong, China manufacturers also have upgraded and actually improved. So I see Maggie raising her hand. So maybe I better let her share a little bit of that Industry 4.0 as well as how to get the communication. I think that's one of the key, is how do you manage, you mentioned about all this data, how do you manage, use it properly?
Well, actually, I want to put in a good word for Hong Kong. So you've been to Germany, you've been to Xinjiang. Well, no, we in Hong Kong, Victor Fung always liked to say that our strength is an integrator. And so we go from Xinjiang all the way to get the cotton gin, all the way to sell to, for example, our good customer in Germany is Hugo Boss. So we see the whole value stream. So in Hong Kong, this is why SKL has become a total solution provider. We found that we have knowledge of the entire value stream, and we are able to provide service and value. So Hong Kong, we're not only just in the old, in my father's time, we were just building factories everywhere. Today, Hong Kong is able to provide total solution. We have all your expertise, and we have the visibility, and so we are able to integrate. I forgot what your question is, but I just wanted to put in a good word for Hong Kong.
Thank you. I let Daniel also share.
I mean, that is a good point to raise. When you talk about surface, I recently a study, done by Federation, so the GDP of the surface related to manufacturing in Hong Kong is 42.3%. This is alarming. Actually, people say Hong Kong we don't have manufacturing, but no, the actual local production is only 1% of the GDP. But the surface related to manufacturing, which of course it's not only Hong Kong, that the surface related that we talk about go to GBA, Xinjiang, or maybe even the Southeast Asia, but that is contributing 42.3%. So this is the first point. The second point, Margie is always right, also right. 90% of the Hong Kong enterprise, their headquarters are in Hong Kong. So what does it mean? That means engineering, auditing, purchasing, a lot of very high quality service people, actually, they station in Hong Kong. And then now with the policy of the government, that the latest policy of the government, that, as Margie said, Hong Kong is a perfect place for business. For business, for the new circular economy, new business for digitization, because, the market here is not only Hong Kong, it's reflecting to GBA, and we also stretching out to the whole Southeast Asia, Belt and Road, So, and then Hong Kong, there many people have negative comments about Hong Kong government, but at least one thing is very positive. We are very wealthy. So we have a lot of money to sponsor your research funding by different departments. Every bureau, if you know all the tricks, come to this bureau, you get some money, come to another bureau, you get another money. You always have enough funding, for you to start your company, to run your business. And even the latest, the BUD funding, they don't even ask about your history of your company. As long as you set up a company in Hong Kong, they give you subsidy, to run your business, So Hong Kong is a fantastic place, good for young people, good for international people, I think it's a lot of opportunities, yes.
Thank you, Daniel. He sounds like he's running for office or something. But he's not. I'm just joking. He's absolutely right. I purposely really want we chat before this conference and what we'll be talking about. Daniel mentioned this area. I think this is very important. While we have a lot of negative feelings, negative publicity in the past few years, but despite all the challenges we have, from the riots, from the COVID, and we are still here. We're still striving. We're still expanding. And last night we had dinner with Secretary Edward Yao. He shared with us some numbers. So right now, Hong Kong, the trading numbers, actually is at the highest level. Before the 2018, it's the highest number. I mean, on the monthly for the last 3 months. So we are rebounding. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that. He has a lot of numbers.
Actually, I think Daniel bring another interesting topic. I think over the past 9 to 12 months, a lot of embassy, coming to us, ambassador coming to us, like Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines. One surprising thing, they are not coming to Hong Kong to ask us to start the factory there. No, they don't. They say we have enough factories. We need green technology. We need educated people. They want to send the people to Hong Kong to receive education because they know this is the future of this area. So I say, oh, this is great. We can supply you green technology, automation technology. We can supply the talent. You're always welcome. That just like as you say. In fact, we are better than the economic situation, even better than the export-import business. It's actually better than pandemics here.
Yes.
I'm going to support that and give you two examples. So first is in some of the, in Xinjiang, they have asked us to set up, I don't want to tell you this because I've become one of your competitors. Now we are going to be setting up a technical advisory center to help them with water treatment because that's very critical. Now, I'll come to you for advice. And also in Vietnam, because we have a very good reputation. Hong Kong, when Hong Kong companies go overseas, we've actually established very, very good reputation, which is, I think that's important. And now they are posing questions to us. For example, they're saying, going forward, would you still have, most of our factories in Vietnam, there are 5,000 people. So with the pandemic, post-pandemic, how would you design new factories? So we have now become, that's why I changed my slides to say that we're now total solution providers because our interest is in sustainable development. And people recognize Hong Kong's ability to provide this total solutions. And I think we should really seize the opportunity and stop seeing the limitations to what the kind of growth that we had in the past, but move forward with the knowledge that we've accumulated. And really, this is, the whole world is looking for this kind of solution. And in Hong Kong, we have, all of you are experts. So we should integrate and move forward and really own this new arena.
Thank you, thank you. I certainly will talk to you later on afterwards about different technologies. Well, just to let you know, besides water, we are making hydrogen now, so it's even more exciting. But anyway, I want to come back from the macro view about how Hong Kong, how good we are, to maybe in the SME level. Matthew, you've been helping different manufacturers. Do you see some opportunities for some of the SME to utilize some of this, to be educated and utilize the IoT, the different type of technologies that you have experience with?
My experience being an SME is that I think we use Hong Kong as a test bed, working with local companies and partners that providing very high quality solutions. Then, for example, I'll give you an example. We do a lot of work for Zhou Tai Fook. Okay, they have only now maybe 70 shops in Hong Kong, but in China they have 4,700 retail outlets, and they're going to expand another 3,000. So, but all the technology we developed, tested in Hong Kong, proven, and moved to China. So I think the SME markets that I think, as a high-tech guy, I think, innovate in Hong Kong, but have a mindset about the global market. Back to the healthcare, I think we can use HA. HA is a little bit behind, okay, for the last 2 decades. But now they're catching up, okay, digitalization, automations, and they have a heart and, and money now to do it. So we could use HA hospital, also become our test bed, create the absolutely most advanced solution that can be replicated in China and even in Asia Pacific. So I think Hong Kong, the environment for us is, especially this year is a post-pandemic, literally coming to the end of, hopefully, it's a post-pandemic era, that we actually have highest turnover ever. It's very strange, right? So I think we just focus what we're doing, and we see a lot of opportunities, okay, in the diversity and adversity. And I think we need to focus what we're good at, look at strength. And earlier on I mentioned about the environmental protection, how to handle unused drugs, wastage, and another big opportunities, right? So you got to dig in and work hard and open your eye and see opportunities around you. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we've been doing for the last 12 years. Thank you.
Terrific. Okay, yes. Well, Aldo, after you hearing all these positive points about Hong Kong, when are you moving back from Taiwan to Hong Kong?
I would love to. I would love to, but those quarantine restrictions makes me a bit nervous. Staying 2 weeks in quarantine, and when I'm back, another 2 weeks. But as Maggie has also nicely explained, in the earlier time, if you set up some manufacturing, you needed to be on site, let's say, most of the time to deal with people. But in those days, we can utilize digital technologies and do the things, let's say, virtually. And as I have also explained earlier, we can use digital tools to design products, production, test them virtually. So that's all possible. And that is also where I see the strengths of Hong Kong. You have a lot of highly educated people, and Hong Kong is, in my eyes, also a good base for having headquarters of different companies who can design their products, even design the production virtually, and then set up wherever it is appropriate. It is, I know a lot of factories are in Vietnam or in mainland or in other regions in Southeast Asia. So again, digitalization is here the key, especially the digital transformation using the digital tools. We can do the things much more different and better than earlier. And just now also Matthew has mentioned with this SMEs, small, medium enterprises. A lot of our customers, let's say, I don't have the percentages, but most of our customers are from SME, from small, medium enterprises, especially if you look in Germany, in Europe, in mainland, but also here in Taiwan. And digital transformation doesn't mean you have to replace everything. No, you can also start doing step by step, using some technologies, using setting up IoT systems, using PLC or IoT gateways for product design, and later on, step by step, changing the production into a more efficient way. So that is for us, possible, and also our tool set, digital enterprise suite, what we're providing is offering this possibility that we can dig into the areas which are really relevant for our customers and start with it. But as we have mentioned many times, it is very important that it's supported by the top management, that we also educate the people who will then be dealing with the systems, and of course also expanding. So again, it is a very relevant topic also for Hong Kong, and I do wish the pandemic will be, have said, gone over one day, and then I can travel daily, up and down, which I did in the past. So,
thank you. Well, I want to focus one area because, Siemens being such a giant in this arena, what kind of enabling program that you can particularly help in Hong Kong, or you have been doing in Hong Kong or in the Greater Bay Area, to allow these SMEs to do the transformation? Because the big companies, they all have all the experts. They're going to hire all the technology people and understand everything. But for the smaller SME, that Matthew said, we could use it, but the small SME, if you only have 5 people or 10 people, even with the startups, some of them, they need to catch up to learn more and be able to afford it also. So maybe you can share with us a little bit in that area how you can help.
Exactly. There was another point I'd like to mention, and it has been mentioned already, that there are, let's say, funding possibilities through the government to those companies who are probably small, probably doesn't have, let's say, enough budgets to try new technologies. And exactly in this area, I do believe the government support is essential. And this we see in many areas in the world. We see it in Germany, I see it here in Taiwan, but also just now it has been shared that there is enough money in Hong Kong, which could be utilized also for SMEs. So again, a start help, how we call it, is relevant. That is the one thing. By the way, my colleagues have shared with me that we have also collaborated with the Hong Kong Productivity Council to tailor digital solutions for identified companies to leverage those Industry 4.0 technologies in Hong Kong. So that is the one aspect. Another aspect, as said, we have experts sitting together with the small companies, SMEs, and discussing about the areas which is relevant for their production, for example, or product design. And accordingly, we can start setting up things which they need, for example, for the product design. We have tools which can be used to digitally design the products or the production sites. So then time by time, things can be expanded. But as I said here, first we need the willingness of the companies, then probably some support from the government, and then of course with our experts, we can support those companies to start with and expand, of course, over time. Does this make sense?
Well, I think Matthew, he's grabbing the mic here, something to share.
I want to add a point that on the same subject, because as we have many vivid examples that many smaller jewelry shops, have small outlet, single shop. They're actually leveraging the government funding, right, to able to adapt our solution, right? It's a solution no longer for big guys, all right? So they need to do those information and adopt a solution, and with the support for government funding. It's a very good incentive, and many of the clients are really getting great benefit from that.
Yeah, just to tell you that the funding, we have like 45 different fundings in Hong Kong to support all sorts of industry and business in different levels. So for all the audience, keep that in mind. If you're not sure, you can always ask. I think, ask Daniel here or Hong Kong PC or somebody. You send an email or to the website, to the government, you can see a bunch of them. It's exciting because for some reason, I think with everybody printing money, we are loaded with money somehow, everybody. Okay, anyway, we got 2 minutes left. I want to ask if there's any questions from the audience here. Any questions? Okay, please.
Hi, this is Mark from SocGen. So I have a question for Margie that, with all the, with very interesting video you showed us, and we were always under the impression that a lot of the environmental damage was done through the dyeing and all that stuff, which you are trying to correct. But from a cost perspective, I kind of wonder, from all you have invested in, cleaning up the environment, does it increase your costs in a big way, or in the long term, how much cost savings do you envision?
For that specific project, money is not a question. That is really, our way of paying back to society. This is our platform. We need to use shock to get everybody to listen and then convert them. Now, most of our other factories, well, all of our other factories are profit-making. Otherwise, we can't support a project like Integral.
Thank you.
So,
Well, I'm looking at the clock here. Is there any other question from the audience? Okay.
Okay, hi. So I'm a student from CityU, and my question is that with Industry 4.0 and circular economy, both of them are directly linked to SDG 12, responsible production and consumption. From the talk so far, I've learned a lot of insights on the production side, but what role do businesses, especially manufacturers, play in the responsible consumption aspect? So what is your role on responsible consumption practices to your consumers?
Anyone wants to take on that question?
So you are talking about responsible consumption after sales, right? Okay. So in Hong Kong, we have different way. In Hong Kong, we have a plant, that we collect all the electrical appliances. So all the washing machine, TV, So when you buy, so then your old one, they will come to your home. They will take it back, and they recycle, So the metal go to metal, plastic will go to plastics. So all the copper wires, PCB, all the PCB, all the gold element will come up. So the Hong Kong government has a policy, But I think if you talk about the consumer, the consumption responsibility, end of the day, it's really government behavior, right? So if any country want to do it, just by the brand, it's very difficult, So as a manufacturer, we will support all the government policy, to like a green label, how to like an EC assembly or EC disassembly kind of design, to incorporate. So when the appliances reach the end of the cycle, life cycle, it can be disassembly easily, and then go into something like, as I said earlier, becoming some renewable material, reusable material, So I think that this is all the best we can do.
Yeah, I didn't really introduce myself earlier, but I also, I've been a board member for BEC for 19 years, and this last 2 years I've been chairing the circular economy. Also, one of the topic that we were talking about is post-consumer, how products. What can we do? We're trying to push some product that actually have a longer lifespan, either in repairability, replaceability, so we don't throw the whole thing away. We just replace what needs to be replaced, which is what we done back when I was a child, okay? My shoes I wear, and I'll pass on to my brother, and then my younger brother, and then clothes the same way. We don't throw everything away, from Taobao, okay? So maybe with all this climate change and all these negative effects to our human race, we really need to seriously rethink our whole consumer behavior, our culture, our way of lifestyle, and our way of thinking from consuming to how to make things work. So this is something that why we are here today, sustainability. Okay, the word is sustainability. We need to stay alive. In order to stay alive, we need to find solutions. And as all our panelists have shared with very positive and real energetic views, that Hong Kong is certainly a powerful, positive place. We can do a lot of things if we put our minds together. If we work closely with the government, the business partners, the researchers, and all the partners around the world, like companies like Siemens and all the international companies. But the important thing is we really need to think and work together, not only sharing digital information manufacturing, but actually communicating more effectively in the right context, right topics. And this climate change and this global warming is definitely the top of the priority. So, I'm looking at the clock. It was already overrun a little bit. But I have 30 minutes. Supposed to the next session start at 3:30. I don't want to overrun to the next session. But but I think even 10 minutes is okay. I hope you forgive me. But I think certainly we have a wonderful panelists and sharing a lot of good experience with us. And I want to, want all of you to join me to give a big hand of applause to all our panelists. I know this topic, we can actually talk all day, okay? But, in view of all this time schedule, I have to say, we'll finish at this point. And welcome all of you to connect with BEC. This is a place where we bring all the different business together. And if you're not a member yet, please join us. Okay? Yes, we have all the staff here willing to take your business card and remind you to be a part of this big family. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you to our speakers and moderator for the comprehensive sharing. This also marks the end of the third session, and we'll now take a 30-minute break before we start our final session, Transforming Financial Services for Green Growth at 3:30. Thank you.